Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Conversations with Courageous Cancer Warriors. And today we have Tess Scott. So not only is she a breast cancer warrior, she is a mom of 8 and now a author. I'm so excited to be talking to you, Tess. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. So excited.
So tell me a little bit about your journey and how you became an author.
Okay. Well, it's a long journey because I'm old, but so I've my life, like the name of the book, I'll just say that first. The name of the book is Listen, Sister, Finding Hope in the Freak Show of Life. Because I always say, my husband says, our life has been a freak show. So in my past, I've been married 4 times, count all the fingers there, sister. And I have 8 kids. It's a blended family, an adoptive family, and it's huge. And we had 5 teenage boys at one time, like, the milk consumption. And it was just always crazy. And now I have 9 grandchildren. That's right. And it's still a freak show. But I think all the things you go through in life, I felt really strongly that God wanted me to share my story to encourage other women that they're not alone. Whatever it is we're going through, sometimes it feels like I am the only one walking around with one boob, or I am the only one, whatever it is, but really we're not the only one. I think almost, I can't even imagine anything that I could be the only one, right? So somebody out there needs to be encouraged that it was hard. It was dang hard, but we made it through, and you can too. So that's my why. That's my why of doing this.
Oh, I love it because, we're a firm believer here that you can't do anything without your tribe, right? Like you can't get through this journey without your community.
Yeah.
And you're definitely not alone. So I would love to hear from you. Like, how did this book even come about?
Yeah. Well, again, back to the freak show thing. My so my husband Rick and I were divorced. Like I had been already married. Like this is my third marriage, and I'm like, I can't do this. And things weren't going great, I guess, but I didn't think it was that bad. And then he decided he's going to leave. So I'm devastated. I don't want to be alone again. All those things. So there's some shame. There's like just lots of stuff. And but he left. And after he was gone for 3 years, and during that time when he was gone, like I honestly am thankful for that time. I don't want to ever do that again, but I'm thankful for it because I grew during that time. I needed to be alone that time, to be alone with God and to really like grow. And after that, 3 years of being divorced, he came back, and our marriage was, it's amazing. It's a miracle. Our marriage was, our relationship was reconciled. We dated for, I think, 9 months, and then got married, and like we moved in together after we got married. Like it was like, this is serious. This is not a game, so tons of like counseling and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so that in itself is a story. And then 3 weeks after our wedding date, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. 3 weeks. And I thought, what? Like, how can this happen? How could this be good timing? Like, now I'm finally married to someone I love. And, my life is supposed to be great now. And then now we're going through that. And I thought it was like the worst timing ever. But what I learned in the years after that is that it was actually the best timing ever. If there's ever a good timing to have cancer, because it allowed my husband, who had been gone for those 4 years, to show me that he loved me, right? To take care of me. He didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen, right? It was just a normal mammogram. And and it showed like our kids that, dad's here, he's like there. And if it would have been different timing, like if I would have got sick and then he found out and said, you know what, you're sick, I'm going to come back, I would have been like, that is not happening. There's
Right.
no way. Right. So it did allow, and I had no choice but to trust him. And it's always a long road, like going through this kind of thing, going through chemo, going through radiation, Herceptin, the whole thing. And it's hard, but lots of times I said to him things like, when we got remarried, you didn't know that I was going to have no hair. You didn't know I was going to have a mastectomy. You didn't know all these things, right? Because neither one of us knew. And, finally he said to me, Tess, I knew I'm going to be married to you for the rest of our lives. And I knew one of us is probably going to take care of the other one at some point. And that's what I'm in for, So it was a gift. It was a gift, really.
Yeah. And, you've said so much that's so good. First and foremost, like, life gives you second chances. And that's what I absolutely love about your story is that regardless of your circumstance, right? Regardless of whether or not you're divorced and then you come back together, or you have an illness and like you choose to leave, whatever that looks like for you, you always have another chance. And I love that, because especially the journey of, cancer, that never really ends, right? Like there's always that thought in the back of your mind of like, is this the time it's going to come back or whatever? We really can stand powerfully in that, what? You have a second chance at life. You have this day to move forward with and make it be whatever you want without any rules. There's no rules here.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. I love that, that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Who cares what people think?
Yeah.
Just follow your heart and be true to you.
Yeah. I love that, even though, like, I would say it was harder. I don't know if you agree or what your exact situation is, but I think it was easier to lose a breast than it was to lose my hair, because I'm vain, I guess. And I mean, I have weeny, teeny, tiny little breasts anyways. So nobody would even notice, really. And you wear clothes. So as far as like being in the world, that wasn't as hard, but losing my hair, right, through chemo was hard because everybody sees that.
Yeah.
And I struggled so much more with that part of it, and the self-image and like all of those things I found to be really hard. And then it came all in gray. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, no, it's true, because I also know that it's like that wiry black hair too that happens, right? But so you said something that's really great, and I don't think it's vain. I think for me, how it lands, it's, I'm a very private person to the point that I was diagnosed on my baseline mammogram, just like yourself, routine mammogram going in there. And once I found out what was really going on, I didn't share it with anybody. I didn't want people to know, because I didn't want their pity. I also didn't want to have to be the person to manage their emotions for what I'm dealing with here. Like, I get you care about me, but I can't deal with you right now being upset. So it took me a really long time. It took me a good year before I really was like, okay, I'm going to start sharing this with people. And I can understand why losing your hair would be so difficult for you, because there's no way to hide it.
Right.
There's no way to hide what you're going through.
Well, I had a wig, but so I had like a long red, like Reba McEntire wig, because I thought, if you're going to do it, like, I'm not a private person. You and I are like total opposites. Not that I put it on my Facebook or anything like that, but I did have a friend, which I'm so thankful for, who had breast cancer 2 years before me. So I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to ask, like, okay, they said this, but it might not be anything. I might not have to have chemo. I might not, like, I'm just asking her for hope. Tell me I'm not going to have chemo, just like, tell me it's really not true. And she was honest with me. And the day I came home from having the surgery, and I was laying on the couch feeling all sorry for myself. And so someone knocks at my door, my husband answers the door, and it's Annette. And she has this cupcakes, and every cupcake looked like a little boob with a little nipple on top made out of a jelly bean. I was like, I couldn't not laugh. Like, nobody else, do not try this at home if you've not had one, but only people who understand are allowed, like somebody else couldn't have brought me that, because that's not funny, but she could bring it. Right.
Yeah.
So, just having somebody who's been there, even if they can't help you really, is like, they can't make anything different, but they can say like, I've been there and I got through it. And this is like, I'm validating what you're saying. It is hard. It does suck.
Yeah. And, we don't want people to understand, right? We don't want people part of this club, but when we do meet each other, there's just an automatic relatedness because you've gone through the journey too, right?
Yeah.
And no one's journey is, identical, but there is a common thread in there. The other thing too that I want to say is I couldn't agree with you more about the cupcakes.
Yeah.
For the fact that somebody gave me a t-shirt of my boobs try to kill me. And I literally don't know where it is because I was like, oh my, it brought out this emotion in me that I didn't think I had. So I get it. And you're spot on when you said like somebody who's been there is really the only person that can do that.
Yeah. 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 I saw a meme this week about something else, but it said something like, if you've never been in their shoes, don't pretend the shoes fit.
Yes.
Something like that, but it had a cuter picture. But yeah.
Oh, I love that. Exactly. I need to find that.
Yeah.
So you've gone through this, you've rekindled your romance, you've gone through breast cancer, you've raised 8 kids. So you want to talk about resilience, right? Like resilience indeed. And boys atop of it.
And boys.
Sorry, guys. Sometimes like
it's true.
Boys and girls are totally different, right? And at what point did you decide, I just need to share this story?
I felt really like there's lots of other little stories. Like 2 of our boys fought against addiction, and my son that's adopted is special needs. Like there's like hundreds of like little stories in each thing. But I knew, I guess it was a couple years ago, like I felt really strongly like you have to share your story. You need to encourage, and whether that was going to be like the biography of my life, which it's not, or whether how I was going to share it, like maybe just blogging or maybe just talking to somebody, or, I didn't really know how, but I really knew, like I knew that I knew that I knew when that I had to do it. I've never written before. I have a grade 12 high school education. And because I got pregnant at 19, like that's my story, part of my story. So anyway, I started just writing little stories, did a blog. And then I just knew I had to try to write a book. And so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna, write a little bit at a time whenever I'm working full time at a college. And, we have a busy life. Like I still have one son at home who's 18. And my oldest son is 38, by the way. And so life is busy, my husband and everything. So anyway, I got up for work one morning and I was doing my hair and I thought, wow, like my smile kind of looks crooked in the mirror, and I'm always pretty kind of judgmental of my face anyways, like, what is wrong? Is that a pimple? You're 57, anyways, I'm looking in the mirror. It's kind of like, it's kind of, and the day before I had like blurry eyes, but I thought it was my prescription was changing. So those 2 things added up a little bit, but I had to be at the school to open it at 6:30, 7 o'clock, because the whole world revolves around Tess here. I am the one, no one else can do it. So I finished putting on my makeup. I go to the college. I'm the only one there. And my boss finally comes in and I kept looking at my phone, like a little selfie, looking at myself. And it's just like this, that's what it was like just like totally crooked. And he came in and I said, good morning. And he said, what's wrong with your face? I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. He said, you have to go to the hospital. So I went to Emerge, and which is like, I don't know what you're American, right? I'm not sure what you call it, but anyways, went to the Emerge, and they said, they thought it was a stroke. They kept me in for 3 days, all kinds of tests, and it was a TIA, right? And I forget what that stands for, but it's basically, thank you. Yeah. It's like so it's a warning, right? So after, there was no long lasting effects. Thank you, Lord. Came home and I said to my husband, this is just a false alarm. I'm so thankful, because in the middle of it, in the middle of all that and not knowing what's going on, you don't know that's what it is. And I'm laying in the hospital bed and I'm thinking, okay, God, I think you want me to share my story. And now I can't see, it's blurry, and I can't speak. My words are all garbled up. I couldn't speak the words. They were in my head, but I couldn't get them out. This makes no sense. I don't understand. Maybe this is not the calling you have for me. This is what I think you want me to do, So I was not happy. I was kind of grumpy. And anyways, so when I got home after 3 days, I said to my husband, like, it was just a false alarm. And this is what he said. This is my husband that I married twice said to me, Tess, maybe this is a real alarm. Maybe this is God saying, you only have so many days. We all have only so many days of life. Are you doing with it what you're supposed to do? And he said, I think that you need to quit your job, retire, and write full time, and I'll just work 10 years longer.
Wow.
So I did. I quit I think 3 weeks after that. I told my boss the next day I went into work and said, I'm quitting this year. I'm retiring in 3 weeks, and started writing. And that was April of last year. And the book came out in June of this year. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, and it's none of it is because I'm anybody, honestly. Like, I don't have a degree. I don't have education. It's just, I was supposed to do it. I just did what I was supposed to do one day at a time. And now I'm speaking in front of women at conferences and signing books. What? Yeah, it's weird. It's a freaky world, man.
I just love what you said. And just, some of the smartest people I know have never gone and even graduated from high school. So education for me isn't the end all be all for anything like this, but I just want to say, I am proud of you to have the courage to be like, you know what? He's right. And to also be receptive to the gift that he was giving you and being like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. Yeah. Right. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to write full time, and I'm just going to see where this goes. Like, a lot of us can't let go. We have to keep pushing forward. And that's why I always say that my diagnosis was a gift, because it gave me the hit on the head, the really hard hit on the head multiple times, to have me recognize, like, I need to put myself first. Like, and I think especially as women, we don't always give ourselves permission, because there's always something to do. There's always somebody to take care of. There's always laundry. There's always whatever it is, right? And it's how we are, I think it's how we're programmed a little bit, right? Like, we feel that we have to nurture the people in our lives, and we always forget to nurture ourselves.
Yeah.
So if somebody hasn't said that to you already, like, I am proud of you. Proud of you.
It was hard. Like, it was a difficult decision to stop work. I mean, it was a job, my favorite job of my whole life. I loved it. I loved all the people I worked with. It gave me a lot of satisfaction, because I was like, you probably don't remember, there was a TV show, MASH. And so there was Radar, and he was the center of everything, right? And that was me. So I had a job that I loved, because I was like looking after all these people, and I was busy all day, and like, I was making everything just run like this, right? And I was appreciated. And then to walk away from that to this unknown, you're going to try to write a book and get a book contract. Do you know how many times people send book proposals to publishers and not get book contracts? And I got the first one I sent.
Wow.
First one.
Wow.
Like, what? I know. It was shocking. But I know, right? All along, I know I was doing the right thing. It was the right thing, because there's so many women who need to be encouraged.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. The goal isn't to sell. I mean, sure, I want to sell millions of books, of course, but the goal is to encourage women, for me, whatever that looks like, whether it's this, whether it's speaking on a stage, whether it's people that read my book, like whatever it is, I just want to encourage women coming after me.
I love it. I love it. And I have to tell you that your story resonates with me, because, I had a job that I absolutely loved. I am a physician assistant, and I was working in oncology. And I was actually supporting the validation of Ibrance. And ironically enough, it's what I'm on now. So I've come full circle, and it's really surreal. But when I was patient facing and I was on the front lines, working with metastatic cancer patients, I'm like, I can't heal myself right now. and heal them at the same time, right? Like it wasn't in alignment. So I found myself like, struggling, crying on the elevator and between patients, like, and it took a lot for me to just be like, I got to find something else.
Yeah.
And I walked away from it. And it took me a good 3 years for my ego to finally quiet down and be like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. Yeah. Right? Like, I never wanted to be a public speaker. I never wanted to have a podcast. It just kind of evolved that way. And like this upcoming weekend, I have an opportunity to speak on a pretty big stage. And I'm just like, right, I'm having a little bit of imposter syndrome, a little bit of like, what do I have to say? But just like yourself, like you just keep moving forward and like have a belief that you are up to what you're supposed to be up to.
Yeah. And it's for a reason. It's that I don't want all of this to be for no reason.
Yeah.
What would I have liked to hear when I was at that stage, whatever it is, the cancer thing or the raising little kids? Like, it would have been nice if somebody would have said, yeah, my kids also peed in the Lego bin. Then I would have been like, oh, okay, it's happened to somebody else, whatever that is, just encouraging them. Because I think when I was a young mom, like, all those years ago, and I connected with my friends, a couple of friends in real life, so I saw their life, or I connected with them on the phone and I could hear their kids yelling and screaming and, pulling at their legs. So I knew that their life was imperfect, like mine, not perfect. But now I think young people like my daughter-in-laws and this generation connect a lot on social media, not as much in person. And if you think that house on Instagram with that beautiful wreath on the front door and the pumpkin on the porch, if you think that's that girl's life, like that's not real. And if you open her door and walk into her living room, there is laundry on her couch, just like yours. Right?
Yeah.
So we have to be real. We have to bring realness.
Right. Right. I can't agree with you more. And the comparison game is such a difficult one, especially in today's world. Yeah. I look at the younger girls growing up, and there's almost like a loss of innocence because they're exposed to so much at such an early age that they're influenced really early. Yeah. Right. Like they just can't just be a kid. I was somewhere, I don't remember where I was, but it was like little 12-year-olds walking around with like little tight mini skirts and like small little heels. And I'm like, you have your whole entire life for that. Like just be told.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't agree with you more there. So you wrote this amazing book. It's now available for people to purchase. Now, how can people find you?
Yeah, it's available everywhere. You can get it on at Barnes and Noble, Kohl's, Chapters. I saw it on Walmart.com, Amazon, all your little indie stores. You can get it online. And yeah, it's what it is it's a collection of short stories. So it's not like a chapter book where it all flows. You could just open it up anywhere and read. Each story is probably just like 2 minutes long. So you can read it while you're in the bathroom and your kids are like banging on the doors, or, just if you're sitting in the car waiting for somebody, or they don't all one lead to the next. It's just kind of like a sort of like, say, chicken soup kind of thing. So it's like a story that really happened, and most are embarrassing, and kind of what I learned from that story, and a verse at the end. So like almost like a little devotional, but not really a devotional, just like little short stories. Yeah. So some are about some are about, having all the kids and them growing up. Some are about me growing up. Some are about breast cancer. Some are about kids in addiction, like all kinds of things. Yeah. And hopefully it encourages you.
Yeah, I love that. And I thank you for who you are in the world. And thank you for taking the chance of writing this book. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I hope that everybody that reads it just feels really encouraged, and then buys one for their sister.
Yeah, I love it. So we'll make sure in the information below that we have a link that's available for people to kind of discover this book and see what it's about. So just thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on. It's been really fun.